Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the On Deck channel. I'm very excited about this episode because we are doing the second part of a three-part series covering the Rainman water maker systems, and we're going to be talking to installation expert and master ABYC electrician, among many other things and certifications, Danny from the Yacht Rigger. I got special access to this guy. He is extremely busy and he is always running around doing installations. As a new hire, he was like the maintenance manager over a whole fleet of boats for like a local charter company, and the Yacht Rigger was very fortunate to be able to have Danny switch over and start working with them. Danny is the kind of person that when we would go on boats and we would be presented with a really hard challenge, and I'd be standing there like, man, I don't know this puzzle. I'm not really sure how this is going to come together. Over time, I learned that this guy will figure it out every time. It's really cool to watch him work. It's really cool to be able to have him walk us through how to maintain our water makers once they're on board our boat. Just become aware of what it looks like when it's installed and some things to keep in mind on how you might do an installation on your boat.
Hello, my name is Danny here with the Yacht Rigger. So we are on board of Sea Essential, that's a Leopard 50, and let's see the unit. The main pump is here underneath, and here on that installation you guys are going to see that a couple things are different of like the regular naked unit, because that one is a portable unit that we are installing.
So for clarity here, the Rainman come in two different basic categories or flavors. There's a portable unit like this, and then there's also a unit that would shed this case, and it would be just the motor, the compressor that's on the inside of where this case is. That's the naked unit. So this portable unit is meant to be exactly that. It's portable. You take it where you need to, move it from boat to boat, let it meet your needs if you're in the position of needing portable. And if you want a unit that's going to be installed, then you go with the naked unit. And the naked unit sheds the case and gains the plumbing materials that you need so that you can install it into your boat as a more permanent solution. And then optionally, and what I think is pretty cool, if you're going to go with an installed unit, there is a control panel here that you have. Just wanted to make that clear. So for this boat that we're looking at with Danny, this customer actually had a portable unit that he then later on decided that he wanted installed. And that's exactly what Danny is doing in particular on this Leopard 50s.
So normally we don't do that. I mean, portable units are designed to be portable and naked units are designed to be installed. But there are cases like this time that it makes sense. The O'Leary family, they did the crossing from South Africa to here with their new boat, and they needed water for the trip. So they bought a portable unit, they use it for all the trip, and once they get here, they decided to install it. Right here under my feet, we have the intake, and then the intake goes to the first strainer. So that strainer removes all the debris, all the big stuff, and that basically protects the lift pump. And then we have these other strainers here. We have two. One is a sediment filter and the other one is a carbon filter. The sediment filter is the one that protects like the main pressure pump, and the carbon filter is the one that we use for the auto flush. So one of the things that we add is the control panel that is here behind. We're going to look at that later. Another thing that we have to install is the auto flush. Auto flush is also like you can install it with an auto flush, but makes your life like way more easier. So basically the auto flush, it goes connected to the main water of the boat, and you program it to flush it like once a week. So once a week, it's an electro valve that opens and give it a rinse to the whole unit, prevent any growth that you can have inside. So other things that we can see here, let's start with the pump. Here we have the pump, and you're gonna see that the difference of the naked unit, it has a quick connect port. That's for the portable one, but once you get the naked, it has a screw in place. So one of the most important parts when thinking on install a water maker or any other thing on a boat, it's three things basically. So one, you want to put it in a place where it's easy for you to access, it's easy for you to reach to the points and maintain it. Another thing that you need to think of is don't lose a lot of space, because I mean on boats, I mean the space is like really necessary for storage. So, and the third thing that we need to keep in mind is that it's easy for us to operate. So here in this Leopard 50 we have a lot of space, so it was really simple. So from one spot, just opening one hatch, you can access to the valve to close the system, you can access to the strainer, and you can access to the filters. If you are handling filters and things like that, there's always going to be like water coming out, and if that water comes out, it's just going to go straight to the build. So it's really convenient. If one day those membranes get the end of their life, they are easy to pull out, replace the membranes, and get it there. The high pressure pump, it's here, and we have good access to the impeller, and we have good access to the oil at the motor. Those are like basic maintenance that you have to do with those high pressure pumps. So impellers, they are recommended to be changed like once a year, or depending on the use that you do with the unit. And if you have them stored for a long period of time, all those chemicals like added on the water for the pickling, they can end like swallowing that impeller, so it needs to be changed. The oil that is at the back, it's also like recommended to change every 300 hours. That's what the manufacturer recommends. And then when it's a new unit, you need to do also another change at 50 hours. So 50 hours the first one, and then every 300 hours like a refresh of the oil. So with that, we have covered like the pump, we have covered the solenoid, the relay, we have covered like the membranes. And then another thing that we add is a three-way valve. You have a discharge point that goes to the high pressure pump, and then you have two intake points. So one intake, it's going to be the salt water coming from the ocean, and the other one is the service port. So normal operation will be in one side, and then when you need to service, you just move it to the other side. That service port, it's for pickling, or sometimes if you need to do like a cleaning of the membranes, there are like different detergents, just in case. So there are like basically two main detergents. One is more to remove biological growth, and the other is more to remove like mineral stuff. And you can use that port, put it in a bucket, get the brine hose, put it also in a bucket, and basically create a closed loop circuit and run these detergents. Those detergents are not recommended to be used as regular maintenance. Those are like those are harsh to the membranes. It's just the first step before changing the membrane and see if you can recover them. This valve is located here underneath, and then on one of the sides we have a 6 feet hose that we would use to put it in a bucket when we are pickling the unit. Rainman, they takes really good care of all the details. So if you guys get a close look, you're gonna see a small arrow that points one side and the other. So basically it's telling you that is connected to here. If you go to the other side, it's telling you now that side is connected there. And even on the handle, you have saltwater intake and freshwater flush. If it happens in your boat that you have to put the hoses the other way, you can just flip that rubber cover, and then you have it on the other side. It's a small thing, but it's just to show that these people like take good care of all the details, and it's a really nice unit. Once it's installed, everything looks like so clean and neat. For the auto flush, now that we are here, the auto flush has its own filter. It's a carbon filter, so that's really important, because I mean, if we are in a marina and we use like city water to fill the tanks, this water is going to have chlorine. Chlorine is really bad for the membranes, so that carbon filter cleans or removes all that chlorine. Those filters are good between 6 months to a year, so they don't last forever, but they last way long than the sediment filters. Always when installing that, one thing that we like to put is a shut-off valve in between your freshwater system and the strainer, just in case there's a leak. You always can close it, and that's good to go. The freshwater system uses the freshwater pump on the boat, so it's the pressure of your boat that is going to push all that water. So always when having the system on auto flush, you need for sure like water in the tank, and you need the freshwater pump on. mechanical valve that opens and closes, and it has a timer. That timer goes once a week, and then you can choose how long the timer is gonna go. So basically you go, I think it's like 4, 6, 8, 10 minutes, and it depends of the length of your installation. So if it's a short installation that there's not a lot of a length of tubing, with 4, 6 minutes you're gonna have enough. If it's longer, you're gonna need a little bit more time to refresh all that water. A good way to know that, how much time do you need to do that, is run the water maker and then give it a flush. Get the brine hose that is going overboard, pour it in a bucket, and then take a TDS, with a handheld TDS meter, you can take a reading of the ppm and take that for every minute. And then you're gonna see that at the beginning, the reading, because it's brine water, is gonna be like skyrocketing, and then with the time it's gonna start like going down, 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 down. Once that number like reach around 700 ppm, that means that that system has been flushed. So then you look at the time that you have used for that, and then you know, okay, so to do a completely flush, I need 6 minutes for my unit. For the discharge, we have here that port. What I like to do is use the same port for the brine and the divert water. When we start like making water, the first minutes that water is not good enough and needs to be like diverted overboard. Ideally, you would have like one for each, but there's a lot of holes on a boat. So basically, if you look at those lines, one for the brine is like 10 millimeters and the other one is 8 millimeters. So they are both small. So what we do is get an oversized through hole. This one is 3/4 of an inch. And then we put a T in a way that the brine it always have like the straight shot going out. And then you have the divert water that is gonna come out and join that water from the brine and going out without creating any back pressure or any problems in a backflow. Once you have a unit installed, having a control panel makes your life like way easier. So you basically don't need to open that hatch all the time to operate the water maker. You do everything from that part. So that's the original control panel that comes with a Rainman, and here you have all the things that you need to control. So on that switch, now it's on auto flush because it's like in standby. Then you can turn it off or you can turn it on. Once you have it on, the system is going to start. So that's the lever that you use to increase or decrease the pressure. So normally I like to keep it like all the way open, so 0 pressure, because when I do the freshwater flush, I prefer that there's no pressure inside. Then you have the manometer that is showing you like the pressure inside the membranes, and you have another small one that is the pre-filter pressure. So if you see that that pressure is going like crazy up, that means that something is restricting the intake, or the filter is dirty and needs to be replaced. The other thing that you need to control is the amount of water that the water maker is making. So basically control the pressure that you are using and control the gallons per hour that you're making. Okay, this unit here is a high flow unit, so it has like 2 membranes, 2 like full length membranes, so you get a little bit below 40 gallons per hour, around 36, 37 gallons per hour. And then if you take a look at that, once you see that you're getting to that production, always also like keeping an eye at the pressure, you just stop adding pressure. Normally you're gonna be in that center part, but if you are in brackish water, you're gonna make like the same water with less pressure. So 2 things that you never want to overcome, it's more production that your water maker is rated for, and more pressure that your water maker is rated for. That valve, it's the way that you control that pressure. So let's think about how a water maker is. It's a really easy thing. So it's just a high pressure pump that passes through a membrane, and at the end of those membranes there's a valve. So if you close that valve, you get more pressure. If you open the valve, you release the pressure. So it's really, really, really simple how it works. Another thing that we have on that control panel, it's salinity probe. So it's that light is gonna shine red when the water is not good, and shine green when the water it's good. And then you can move from divert, that is like sending water overboard, you can now send it to the tank. An addition that we like to add on those installations is a product water manifold and a test port. So when you start like making water, you have that lever going to divert, and then that water is going to that secondary three-way valve that is pushing the water overboard, or it's coming to that test port. So when the light it's green, it's telling you that the water is good, but you don't want to always trust just a light. So what you can do at that point is move that lever to test, and you're going to have water coming out from here. So you can get a glass there, use your handheld TDS meter to take a reading, you can smell it, drink it. And another cool thing of that is that once you are ready for pickling the unit, you can get your 5-gallon bucket here, fill it like 2.5 gallons, and this way you are using product water from the water maker for the pickling solution, which is the best water to use. So once we are good with the quality of the water and everything looks good and nice, we can just go to the tank. Once we move that lever to the tank, it comes to that secondary three-way valve, and here we can choose if that water is going to the port side tank or it's going to the starboard side tank. So we control everything from just here. Control panel looks behind. If you guys have a portable unit, you need an adapter. It's basically like a new set of hose that comes from the end of the membrane to a new and different control lever here. And for the installation, it's really easy. Everything is color coded, everything like have a place to go, and you have the electrical with a quick connector fittings, and all is just like push connect, really easy to install. On the manifold that is here on the side, we have the same thing. So basically are like 2 three-way valves. So from the control panel, when from the port that goes to tank, we just bring it to here, and then we go starboard and a port side tank, and the one that goes to overboard, we bring it to the other one, and we send one to the discharge port, and we send the other one just to the test port.
Well, as always, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this episode. It was really cool seeing Danny do that install. I hope you guys learned a lot, because I sure learned a lot making this video. And if you guys would check the link in the description below to be able to see some of the cool toys and bits that the yacht rigger likes to use around the yard to keep our dreams afloat while we're out there enjoying the water, you'll see that right there just below. And if you've watched it this far into the video, if you would consider hitting like and subscribe, that would really make a big difference for a small channel like ours. You can always change your mind later and unsubscribe if you don't like the content. No pressure, it's all good. Thank you guys for your viewership nonetheless, and I will see you guys next time on the On Deck channel.